Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 175 of the All Dolphins podcast on this beautiful Tuesday, December 26th, 2023. We are joined today, as you can see on our screen, by a good friend, Todd Karpovich of BaltimoreSports.com. Todd, how are you, my friend?
Good. How are you? How are you guys? Thank you for having me.
We will be talking all things Ravens, the massive matchup at M&T Bank Stadium. Is that what it's called these days?
M&T. It's cool. Yeah, so far. Yeah.
Okay. There should be rules about changing your name of your stadium 5 times. Like you should only be able to change your name of your stadium like 3 times.
Or just keep it Ravens Stadium. How's that?
As a Dolphins beat writer, after we've gone from Dolphin Stadium to Joe Robbie Stadium to Pro Player Stadium to
Hard Rock.
Sun Life, now Hard Rock.
Hold on, Land Shark. You totally skipped Lamb Shark.
Yeah.
Lance Shark, absolutely. Did they have
the Orange Bowl?
Exactly. Under Armour, was it the Fruit of the Loom, the company that does Fruit of the Loom?
Was it ever Fruit Under Armour? Oh, it was Under Armour. Like, yeah.
Under Armour. It's gone through so many names. Before we get to Todd, we will do our obligatory hat tip. And looking back at the first go around of number 75, I picked Nick Williams because it was the week of the Chargers game. How can I possibly not go with Doug Betters, defensive end, who, oh, by the way, was merely the 1983 NFL Defensive Player of the Year when he had, I believe it was 18 sacks. Doug, very unfortunately, got in a nasty skiing accident that left him in a wheelchair, paralyzed, from the waist down. But hell of a player, 6th-round pick, I want to say, out of Wyoming, part of the great defenses of the 1980s for the Dolphins. So hat tip to Doug Betters. Omar, no comment? That's way before your time. Hell, you weren't even born when that happened. So.
Way before my time. So, yeah.
Okay, time to talk Baltimore. And Todd, man, wow, that was some impressive stuff by the Ravens last night.
Statement game. Ravens, they were 5.5 point underdogs. They talked all week about being disrespected. They did not like that line. They were mad about it. Kyle Hamilton's like, we're 11-3 and we're 5.5 point dogs. And Roquan Smith was, he's a guy also you don't want to anger because he plays angry, and Patrick Queen. So yeah, they were determined to make a statement last night. And I don't think the 49ers can match their intensity, at this. Of course, the 49ers, they've lost.
Really? Hold on, wait a minute. Everybody in the world said the 49ers are the most physical, the most in-your-face team in the NFL for the 2023 season, and you're saying that they couldn't match the Ravens' tenacity.
They got punched in the mouth.
As the Ravens always do.
Brock Purdy with 4 picks, career high. He had a stinger. They said, they didn't put him back in the game. They said, you know what, we'll get ready for next week. We'll put in Sam Darnold. He threw an interception. So yeah, it was a statement game for the Ravens. But again, it's sort of moot because everything comes down to the game this week against the Dolphins. This is the biggest game of the year as far as AFC goes.
Okay, and Todd, I don't need to remind you that last year those two teams faced each other at M&T Bank Stadium, and the Dolphins torched the Ravens
in the fourth quarter.
Well, yeah, mostly in the fourth quarter, but still, 42 points. 2 had 6 touchdown passes. Waddle and Hill, both 11 catches, 171 yards and 190. They could not cover those guys, period. Yeah. Obviously, the Baltimore defense is much better now. What's your thought on how well the Baltimore defense is equipped to deal with the Dolphin passing game?
Well, after that game, the Ravens were scrutinized after that game. We were like, what happened there? How did you fall apart? You had a double-digit lead, and they were just based to a player, to a coach. They said there were communications breakdowns. Kyle Hamilton was a rookie. Mike McDonald, in his first year, first year defensive coordinator. There was some. They weren't on the same page as far as coverages go, as far as who they're supposed to be marking, where guys are supposed to be. They're a different team now. That they don't have those communication issues anymore. So I don't. The game would go either way. I said this last week about the 49ers. It could be a blowout by the 49ers, a blowout by the Ravens, or go overtime. I feel the same way about this game. It didn't go It's be a great thing about this game is you have no idea how it's going to play out. But I don't think the Ravens are going to have that type of collapse again.
The one thing I will say, people always ask me, who's your favorite team in the NFL? And I always tell them, I don't like teams. I generally like styles, or I root for teams that have people who are my friends that play for them or coach for them. That used to be the Ravens, just because they had Ed Reed and they had Willis McGahee and the back old school Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, the Ravens also under Harbaugh played the smash mouth style of football that I value, respect, love. And what I've always found extremely appealing or attractive about their style is, and I call them the Debo of the NFL. You ever seen Friday, Todd, where there's that character, the Debo?
Debo, the big guy.
Walk up to you and he's going to say, you got his bike, and he's going to say, "What bike, fool?" That's Harbaugh and his team. And what I love about this matchup is Miami disrespectfully has this finesse label because of, the speed elements, even though they have the second best rushing attack in the NFL behind the Baltimore Ravens. But certain people, won't call any names, but he's wearing a Montreal Expos hat, says that they're a finesse team, even though they have a number 4 defense in the NFL, play smash mouth football. But certain people say they're a finesse team.
They're a finesse team.
And now they play a physical Ravens team. How do you see that matchup playing out?
Now the Ravens are going to watch a lot of tape from last year. Tyreek Hill is a big X factor here. I don't know what his health is. Waddle also another big X factor. They're going to watch. They're going to spend hours watching film on Tua. The way he torched him last year. Of course, Tua leads the NFL in passing yards. And Tyreek Hill leads the NFL receiving yards. So I think that's why they get that finesse. They get that finesse label because they're so explosive on offense. I think the Ravens are going to approach this game the same way they approach the 49ers. 49ers have a great rushing attack. Christian McCaffrey. They have solid receivers. Deebo Samuel. So they're going to they'll stay. I guess they'll stay in zone a little bit to make sure they don't get beat over the top. I think they're going to they'll look for tells when Dolphins are going to run the ball, and they'll stack the line of scrimmage. Now the key is Kyle Hamilton. He hurt his knee again last night. They're a different defense when he's not in the game. They're not as good. He's a very good player as far as he keeps things organized, and they move him around so much. Where he had 2 interceptions in the first half last night. He had 3 sacks and a half. Earlier in the season, so he can do it all. So that's something to watch, because if Kyle Hamilton can't play, that's going to be a big benefit for the Dolphins. But otherwise, the Ravens are going to attack them.
2 quick points where, if I may, I say the Dolphins are a finesse team on offense because they're about deception, misdirection, and then spreading you out horizontally and vertically, as opposed to boom, coming straight at you. So I said what I said. Number 2, saw a comment, maybe that was wishful thinking, from Harbaugh after the game last night, where he said he didn't think it was going to be anything serious with Hamilton. And I hear you. On the flip side, the Dolphins have a potential issue with the aforementioned Jalen Waddle, who Mike McDaniel revealed has a high ankle issue. And if it's a high ankle sprain, the odds of him playing are probably not very good.
And they've also got Robbie Chosen in the concussion protocol. Let's not disrespect Robbie, because he is also that guy who stretches the field. Who else stretches the field, Poupard? Tell me, who else, except for Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, stretches the field?
While catching 5 passes on the season, yes, that would be Robbie Chosen.
Does he stretch it or not?
There could be some weather up here this weekend too. I mean, if it's raining today, it could be cold, windy, and raining on Sunday. So that can also play into how much these teams are able to throw the ball.
Yeah, and Raheem Mostert's also battling an injury, so that's a factor. He's the 4th leading rusher in the NFL, even though Poupard does not want to give him for being a downhill rusher, and he has 21 touchdowns on the season that leads the NFL. He has got a lot of physicality to him as well, Poupard.
He's tied for the NFL lead. McCaffrey tied him last night. And by the way, it's another one. McDaniel said that Mostert definitely could have gone back into the game. He wanted to go back into the game. And McDaniel basically said, no, you're good. Jeff Wilson's doing the job. And Jeff Wilson helped close out the game on the final drive.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge game for the Dolphins because if they
absolutely.
lose, then they got to play the Bills last week. Everybody's touting the Bills, the team you don't want to see. I'm not buying into that. I think the Bills are still very good, but I don't think anybody fears them. I don't think.
Hand race, Dolphins.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first game this year. Yeah.
Oh, no. It's not first game this year. Josh Allen's entire career, Miami was Charles Clay dropped the pass in his rookie season that would have sealed a win for him. And then last season, he just pooped the bed in the first game early in the year on the final drive, a game-winning drive. He just threw a horrible pass that basically sealed the loss. But Josh Allen has been the player of the week, I think, in 4 contests that he's played Miami.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Why Omar has Josh Allen nightmares. By the way, here's a crazy thing. We're talking about the Bills here real quick. They could wind up with a number 2 seed.
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
And Cleveland could have been number 1. I don't know if they still can.
They can.
They
absolutely can be number 1. And the Dolphins can still wind up with the number 1 seed, even if they win against Baltimore, lose against Buffalo, they still could end up with the number 1 seed, but it would require the Ravens to lose against Pittsburgh in the finale and for the Browns to lose one of their final 2 at home against the Jets or at Cincinnati.
Yeah, which I don't see happening. I think the Browns are.
No, I don't either. And I don't see the Patriots winning at Buffalo on Sunday, which means if the Dolphins don't win, if they win, they're in the driver's seat for the number 1 seed. If they don't win, they're playing for the AFC's title at Hard Rock Stadium.
Yeah, and the Chiefs did everybody favors by losing to the Raiders, because they were a team who had the easiest schedule down the stretch and could have snuck in there and grabbed that 1 seed. And they lose to the Raiders, and now they're in turmoil. The Taylor Swift effect.
Oh, you're not blaming this on Taylor Swift. The Swifties will get you, sir. Todd, you gotta watch yourself.
That might be worse. Todd, that might be a more egregious offense than insulting Tuanon. I think the Swifties outnumber Tuanon by quite a large number.
And Beyonce, geez, you say something about her, forget it, man. You're canceled.
Absolutely. But listen, I'm curious about. We all know the style that the Baltimore Ravens have been playing, and I personally believe that this final 2-game stretch features 3 of the candidates that are MVP candidates in terms of for Miami: Tua Tagovailoa, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. It's kind of an elimination.
That's not how you pronounce Tyreek Hill, Omar. Sorry. That's how you pronounce Tyreek Hill.
If Tyreek was still on pace for 2,000,
it doesn't matter. But okay,
it does matter. He's not going to get it. So as Tyreek is going to pull a Kamala Harris and say it is Tua Tagovailoa, do you think that the winner of Sunday's game will walk into the season finale as the front runner for MVP of the league?
I do. I think the team that gets the number 1 seed will have the player with the MVP. I think that's how it's going to shake out. And then Lamar, his passing numbers aren't gaudy, but he's such a good runner. So he's sort of a complete package. But yeah, I mean, I think the winner on Sunday, whoever wins the game will have the front runner for MVP. And Lamar said, he doesn't really care about MVP. He said that numerous times.
He's won it already. Why wouldn't he care about
exactly.
MVP?
The only thing he wants to win is a Super Bowl. That's the only thing he's worried about. He's like, he loves the MVP talk, but he's not worried about it, which is, refreshing. But of course, the Ravens are really touting him. They're really hyping him up for MVP. Harbaugh said it last night that they're chancing for the game. But again, Lamar has to win some playoff games. He has to win some playoff games to start, really, getting his name in there with the great quarterbacks. He's 1-3. He's 1-3 in the playoffs. He's beaten the Titans. And he got knocked out of the Buffalo game. He got knocked out of the Buffalo game when they played up there, which was the difference in the game. And then, of course, he was hurt last year for the postseason. So
Behind Enemy Lines is brought to you by You Break Wheel Fix, which is your complete wheel repair and refinishing solutions shop located in North Miami. Over 25 years of experience repairing damaged wheels from cracks and bends all along any type of refinishing job, painting job, brake job. Customize your wheels with the colors and designs that you want. All you need to do is call Mark at 305-748-0112 or hit them up on all social media platforms at You Break Will Fix. So let's talk a little bit about this Ravens defense. The style, the one thing I've always loved and respect and appreciated about Harbaugh teams is no matter what the personnel is, it looks identical. It is the same. It's still punch you in the mouth, aggressive, matchup zone, physical, sometimes pressing. They're gonna blitz. They're gonna attack you. They're gonna take big shots. How good would you rate this defense this year for the Ravens?
This is their best defense under Harbaugh since he had Terrell Suggs in gang. When Terrell Suggs was wrapping up 16, 17 sacks a year. Matabike, they hadn't had a double-digit sack guy since Suggs. Since Suggs retired. Matabike's at 11. Clowney has been a huge addition for this team, and the Ravens are doing a really good job. Van Noy too. The Ravens do a very good job keeping their veterans rested. And for late in the game, I saw Klein last night, and in the fourth quarter, he was a wrecking machine. He was a game wrecker in the fourth quarter. Same thing with Van Noy. This defense is one of the better defenses Harbaugh's had. Since the days of Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, and those guys. It's because they're so disciplined. And Mike McDonald, he's a guy you got to keep an eye on for a head coaching job after this season because he's done such a good job. He's a Harbaugh disciple. He's very organized. He sort of fits the mold for being a head coach. No nonsense. Does a pretty good job dealing with the media. Not revealing anything but answering questions. That's a fine balance. Having a relationship with us. This is one of the Ravens' better defenses. And this is a year. The Ravens have after this season they have I think it's 21 free agents. They're basically you can form an NFL team with the guys that are free agents after this year. So this could be the window for a couple of years before they got to build it back up, and sort of get guys in and acclimate them to the system.
Boy, you kept dropping that Kyle Van Noy name on me. And
I was going to mention Kyle Van Noy. Actually, we had him here for 1 year, and he was solid. Not necessarily a fan of the media here because let's just say he was a little bit
surly, mean-spirited,
much nicer guy up here. He laughs.
It being turned by 4 NFL teams, it'll do it to you because your personality sucks.
But the dude can play. He's still
he can play. That was never the issue.
Yeah.
He just always wore out his welcome with his wonderful personality.
Yeah, he's okay up here. Yeah.
And to me, the one guy I had a man crush on last year when it became clear the Bears were going to trade him, and I was like, oh God, I would love him on the Dolphins. And that's Roquan Smith, and Omar is doing the old head back there because I don't know what your point is, what your issue is. Roquan Smith is a baller, and he's made a major difference on that defense. And tell me I'm wrong, Todd.
He changed the whole culture of defense when he came in.
Thank you.
They were struggling without him. When he came in and tightened everything up. Patrick Queen is going to earn a huge free agent. Is going to earn a huge payday by playing next to Roquan Smith. He struggled before Roquan got there. Couldn't tackle, was lost in coverage, and Roquan sort of steered him. They played 4 linebackers. Roquan sort of steered him into this is how you play. Watch the ball, fly the ball. Don't and showed him how to be a better NFL player. So now he put himself up for a huge payday. And Abike is also a free agent. A guy who also can just. He can attack the offensive line and free these linebackers up. But Roquan is he was the good guy of the year award for the Ravens this year. He gives back to the community. He's always in the community. He's always with kids and food drives and really Ravens gave him a huge contract, highest paid inside linebacker in the history of the game.
And I have no problem or issue with how good he is. I do agree, especially when you have an inside linebacker who provides that leadership. It helps sew everything all together. But gentlemen, we all know you're going to give $100 million to a player. Are you going to give it to an inside linebacker or are you going to give it to a double-digit edge rusher?
Let me answer first. When your inside linebacker can be a difference maker, the way Roquan Smith is, he's every bit as valuable as your double-digit edge guy.
Yeah, the Ravens value leadership. They value locker room guys. They really put an emphasis on that. They're not a stats team. They're not guys who look at numbers. They want guys who are good personalities and they're leaders and they lead by example and they're vocal. And Roquan fit the mold. He's a perfect example of a Ravens player. But and again, he made Patrick Queen so much better. He put himself in such a position for a huge payday in the offseason. We'll see. They can't franchise him. They can't franchise Madubuike. $21 million, I think, franchise tag on the inside linebacker, and even Madubuike for a defensive tackle. I think it's a high number, so it's gonna be difficult to keep his team together. So going back to my point, the Ravens have a window. It's got to be. It might be this year.
This is interesting that you say that, because while you guys are $13 million under next year's projected cap, the Dolphins are $40.7 million over projected cap. Now, we all know that salary cap is fake, and teams can write big fat checks to reconfigure their roster. But you're saying that, especially with the Lamar Jackson contract, this is a win now mode situation for this team? Pretty
much. The Ravens are always going to reload, but as far as talent wise and depth, this is got to be the team. And Eric DeCosta said, once Lamar signs this huge deal, we're going to have to make sacrifices. We're going to have to draft well, get younger players in here.
But you already do. They already do.
They do. Yeah, they do. They have great drafts. They're. I mean, that's how they. That's why they're so successful. They build their team from the bottom up.
Mm-hmm. I do have a question that I want to ask you, Todd, and this is a personal question for me, because Ozzie Newsome is my favorite executive in the NFL. Has always been my favorite executive. There is nobody close. When I go to the Senior Bowl, he's still around. He's still doing work.
He was there Friday.
Yeah, on draft day, he's still around. He's still doing work. Explain this to me. Is he retired or is he not retired?
He's not retired. I said he was at practice on Friday. He's at practice. Probably he's there every day we're there. He's not involved. He's watching. He's with Rashadi comes. The owner comes. They sit together. But yeah, he's Eric DeCosta was Ozzie's sounding board. So they still have a tight. Their offices are next to each other. Ozzie's still there every day.
So Ozzie still got an office. He's still there every day. Yeah. So Ozzie is technically still the man in charge.
With the team, yeah. He's probably puts in 50 hours a week. What else is he going to do?
I agree with you.
Yeah. No, the Hall of Fame dude.
With his resume, he doesn't need the credit for it. So
no, but he's definitely engaged. He is definitely engaged when he goes to practice. I mean, he's out there. He works it out in the players, training room. Then he comes out of practice and he's engaged. He's talking to the owner. He's talking to the coaches. He's a guy. He's involved. He's definitely involved. Yeah.
No, dude's impressive. Not only, he was a hell of a player, obviously a Hall of Fame tight end, and maybe as good, if not better, as an executive. That guy's impressive. Omar, you never saw him play as a tight end. He could play. The dude could play.
No, I never knew him as a player, but I know him as the best executive in the NFL, probably in my lifetime. And I think, hell, if they could put you in the Hall of Fame twice, Ozzie would probably be a great candidate for that.
He still loves Alabama.
Yeah, well, we won't hold that against him, but that's a different topic. I've seen
down there.
Either full games or parts of a lot of Ravens games, and I'm a little surprised because of the pedigree on their offensive line. There's a lot of times I see Lamar having to scramble quite a bit. Is my perception wrong, or is their pass pro a little bit on the shaky side?
It's on the shaky side. Ryan Stanley hasn't been right all season. He's a left tackle. He's a guy, ever since he had the ankle injury, knocked him out for a season and a half. Really not the same player. They gave him a lot of money. A lot of people are saying, they probably maybe should have given Orlando Brown Jr. that money because he played well at left tackle when Stanley was out. So he's banged up. So they're rotating the offensive line. Pat McCurry and Morgan Moses, and they're trying to keep these guys fresh, and they're banged up. Yeah. So that's something to watch in this game coming up because Stanley, he struggles a little bit with the speed rusher. But yeah, the offensive line, they're rotating, and they sometimes they run a little. They played well last night, but they do have a little trouble pass blocking. They're a good run blocking team because they pull so well.
Quick follow up, and we mentioned Ronnie Stanley. Fun fact, Dolphin fans, he was selected in the same draft as Laramie Tunsil. He went 6th, I want to say. Tunsil went 13th, and since Tunsil was viewed by many as potentially a top 3 pick, if not number 1 overall, before
the video. The Ravens would have taken him if it wasn't for that video.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. The Ravens would have taken him.
They would have taken Tunsil if that thing didn't come out.
Okay, so there you go.
Good thing weed's legal in the NFL now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. What else do we got? Justin Tucker's missing some kicks this year, I see. but and I bring that up because Jason Sanders just made 350 yards plus field goals on Sunday, in addition to the game winner. And I saw this at Justin Tucker 1 for 4 from outside 50 this year. What's going on with that?
Father time.
Okay.
Father time's undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so guys get a little older, and he was good last night. You know, Tucker's still a guy I want kicking for me when the game's on the line. But yeah, you know, I think he's showing his age a little bit, but he's still Justin Tucker. You know, he's still a guy. He's still a guy you want kicking when the game's on the line. You know, and he may not be able to hit a 61-yard like he did against the Lions a couple of years ago, but you know, he's going to be a guy you want kicking for you. I tell you what, it's always a bad omen for the Ravens when Tucker misses a kick. The game usually goes sideways when he misses.
Let me ask you a little bit about the wide receiving core that Lamar Jackson has. His numbers aren't gaudy. I think a lot of that has to do with the weaponry that's around him, not necessarily his protection. I am a huge fan of Zay Flowers. I discovered him his freshman year at Boston College. I don't know how. Because I don't even watch college football. And I saw this electric guy on highlights, and I said, who is he? And people who chimed in, and they said he's a South Florida kid. So I followed him his whole career at Boston College. I wasn't surprised when he was a first-round pick, and I wasn't surprised he's having a dynamic season with the Ravens. Is it possible that we could eventually see this offense evolve around him?
I do. You know, Zay Flowers, everything the Ravens thought Marquise Brown was going to be. And you know, Marquise Brown couldn't stay healthy. You know, he had an attitude. You know, he didn't like running after catches. And Zay Flowers is the complete opposite. He's a kid who gets the ball. He wants to get upfield. He turns his head upfield. He likes to run. Likes to break tackles. Last night he had 9 targets. The next guy had 3. You know, so him and Lamar have very good rapport. You know, he's not a big guy. You know, so you got to worry about durability a little bit, you know, as far as taking a big hit from a safety. But yeah, he's a guy who the Ravens, he's the focal point of the offense. Leads the team in receptions, yards, touchdowns. He's the guy. You know, Odell Beckham. You know, I think OBJ had a decent year. He's also battled some injuries. You know, they're talking about how they're trying to keep him fresh for the playoffs, but you need him now. You know, you need him now because this is the last 2 games. The Ravens got to win these 2 games. I do like the edge Beckham has brought to the offense. You know, we saw it last night as far as getting defensive backs' faces and having a little swagger. He has a little swagger to the offense, which is I think what they needed. The offense that we needed because the Ravens are such a defense-oriented team. The offense needed to have their own identity there. Is
he still a $15 million receiver?
No, they overpaid for him, but they'll take it, because Lamar won them. Lamar, they're negotiating with Lamar. Lamar said, get me a 1st-round pick at wide receiver, bring in Zay Flowers, get me OBJ. They brought in OBJ. He signed the deal. So,
Did you ever think for a second in the offseason when his status was up in the air that Lamar would wind up leaving, or you pretty much feel all along he's not going anywhere?
Well, a lot of teams aren't looking very smart now, are they? When they could have swooped in and got Lamar,
they weren't smart then either. Like that was the dumbest crap I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, the thing was the Ravens were going to match any offer. They sort of they're going to let the market set itself.
So said it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
said it and said it high. Yeah. Look, you telling me that Atlanta couldn't have put a poison pill in a contract and just completely changed the look and their entire franchise?
Even with the city, even what they would have been, the Falcons.
Yeah. Why not take a shot at that?
Yeah, I agree.
And look, I think it's the respect for the Ravens, the organization, Ozzie Newsome, that nobody even wanted to touch him. I was I was amazed at how dumb every franchise was.
Yeah, I was amazed that nobody when it came was after that first week and nothing came in. I was like, he's gonna sign. I thought it was going to be an extended holdout and all that. We're going to go through training camp. He's not going to show up till mid-August. But no, they constantly got it done. And you could really feel the franchise. Lamar is usually popular up here. People love him. He's like, he's like Cal Ripken. He's like that kind of status. If he wins a Super Bowl, forget it. They're going to put statues of him around the city. So when he signed that contract, you could feel the goodwill. And the fans really started, because I tell you what, it would have been an incredibly bad PR hit if the Ravens let Lamar Jackson walk. It would have been bad. Because
you have a Lamar Anon in Baltimore?
What's that?
You have Lamar Anon in Baltimore?
Oh, yeah. Lamar's the guy. And Lamar's out, too. He's a guy. out in the community. He's at food drives, giving out food, hangs out with kids. He has his camps. He's the Ravens do very good with their outreach, very good with their PR. I mean, for example, the stadium. The Ravens and Orioles up for extended lease. Ravens signed their lease deal day one. Give us the money, boom. Orioles dragged it out to 2 weeks before the deadline. So it's like now the Ravens also are doing all these great renovations to the stadium. I don't know if you've seen it. Now they're going to make it interactive and have sports bars, and you can watch the game from patios. Of course, they're moving a press box up. It's one of the best press boxes in NFL.
The best press box in the NFL. The best. Now you're getting booted out, man.
We're getting booted out, yeah.
Yeah, you freeloader.
Yeah, we're going up top. But still, but again, the Ravens are very good with, getting the community engaged.
Todd, another thing about the offense is Mark Andrews was such a good security blanket for Lamar. I'm actually semi-shocked that they haven't gone all out for Zach Ertz.
Yeah.
Kind of sort of same type of tight end who could replace Andrews in that role.
Is he still not employed?
He's still not employed. The Eagles want him, but he did. I guess, I don't know.
What's that about?
I don't know. They like Isaiah Likely. They're really high on him. And Charlie Kohler, Iowa State guy, also getting an opportunity. He's doing pretty well with the opportunity right now. They like their young tight ends. And I guess integrating a guy like Ertz. I don't know. I think him and Sue. Now I think Sue is another guy. The Ravens
are they flirting with
the run defense? He's a guy that's still out there.
We had him in for a workout last week. I have done an about face on my position regarding Ndamukong Suh, where we had him here, and I thought he was a horrible teammate. He's admitted he was a horrible teammate. I thought he was poisonous and could impact the locker room. But Dolphins player tell me we are Suh-proof. Bring him on in. Could he? And obviously the Ravens have a strong enough locker room. Do you think that he can make that much of a difference for a Ravens team trying to win the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I think he could. I think he could help really shore up that run defense. Be a big body in the middle. I think he's got that edge, where when you're an opposing player, you want to know where that guy is.
Oh,
he'll in the mouth. He'll pop you. I thought the Ravens should have got Sue Ennerts. Let's go all in. Let's go all in because again,
it is all in time. It is all in time.
Yeah, because you don't know when you get back. When these opportunities in NFL, you never know when they're going to come back again. When it's right in front of you.
Very good point. I don't know, Amar, anything else? I think we pretty much covered the whole.
I do want to know about the physical toll of playing a physical 49ers team, coming from the West Coast, having one day less of practice, losing another day because of travel, probably only being able to practice one day this week. Do you think that could potentially impact their ability to prepare for Miami?
I do. I do think there's going to be some hangover there. With the travel, you said travel. NFL didn't do any favors to their schedule. As far as playing the Dolphins and Irish back to back, and the Jacksonville game was a physical game. That was they beat up on each other. The Dolphins had a game in Dallas. Which was also a little bit of a physical game. It was a good win by the Dolphins to show they could win a close game. But yeah, I think. But the Ravens this time of year, they have that mentality. They have that better mentality of leave it all on the table, and then when the season's over, deal with it. But yeah, I think there will be some impact. But Harbaugh does a pretty good job at that as far as getting guys off their feet. There'll be a couple of vet days this week. For my guys to make sure they're healthy. But again, the weather up here, it's raining, so they might be indoors. A couple of days this week, which is not ideal when you're getting ready for a game.
Mm-hmm. Well, this segment is brought to you by You Brake Wheel Fix. You're customized if you're interested in customizing your wheels and actually any aspect of your car, refinishing. You Brake Wheel Fix is located in North Miami. You can hit up Mark at 305-748-0112. Poop. Do you want to ask Todd for a prediction? You want to shake him down for a prediction? Super early prediction?
Predicted. What's your gut feeling tell you, Todd?
28-24 Ravens.
And why?
I just think the home field advantage, the weather. The Ravens played a really high confidence level. I think they learned a lot of lessons from that. I think they were embarrassed by that Dolphins game last year. I think they haven't talked about it, but I think it's a game that's been circling their calendar. get the Ravens are big on that. They're big on revenge. They're big on they're big on getting guys back. So I just think the intangibles there. But I think the Dolphins are a good team. I think this will be the Ravens' toughest game of the season.
I wonder if the Ravens defenders are going to be asked about that game this week.
Oh, they will be. Of course, they will be. Yeah,
I know. No, and I'm sure it'll be a topic too. If Tyreek graces us with his presence this week, I'm sure he'll be asked about his performance against Baltimore and Tua as well when he does his weekly thing on Wednesday.
Thursday. Tyreek talks Thursday.
And I said Tua.
Oh, Tua. Okay.
No, and I said Tyreek if he speaks, because he didn't speak last week.
I don't need him to speak. I just need him to play.
Need him to play, and he plays very well at an MVP level.
Yeah. Dolphins last week, they were all like embarrassed and bothered because Tyreek apparently ran out on us. Like they rushed us in there just to get Tyreek, and Tyreek saw us coming and ran out. And they were so embarrassed, and I was just like, I don't care, just play.
Yeah, that's right. You're talking with your performance.
Absolutely, no question about it. All right, Todd, we appreciate your time. This has been alldolphins.com. You know how to find us, where to find us, alldolphins.com, where you can get your information for free. You do the same thing on covering the Ravens. Where can they find your work, Todd?
Well, BaltimoreSports.com and on Twitter at Todd Karpovich.
I wondered why you called it Baltimore Sports, because I'm like, I click in Baltimore Sports and I think I'm getting everything. But,
Orioles, Ravens.
Okay, yeah. See, he does cover the Orioles.
There you go. A good season for the Orioles. Yeah. Good season for the Orioles. Good season for the Ravens. Just like South Florida.
This could be a World Series and a Super Bowl. Who knows?
Yeah.
There you go.
All right.
I really appreciate your time, my friend.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow. Oh, actually, we'll see you tonight when we'll do a live recap of the Hard Knocks episode. See, we're on that. We're on national TV every day.
Yeah, which should be a good one considering the. Should be a good one. This Hard Knocks recap, considering the big victory against Dallas.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. See you later tonight.
Thanks, guys.